Hello and welcome to story number 5. This one relates to story 2 and 3 in that it also happened during that summer, first time that I was in India and had went kind of initially kicking and screaming, but anyway it turned out to be quite a fabulous time. So I was housed the night I arrived after a big 10.5 hour taxi journey from Delhi north. It was dark and I was placed in a house, quite a large house, with many other people my own age. I didn't sleep much that night. I can remember that very vividly because it was actually very noisy and it was quite frightening. I really had no idea where I had landed, but the noise above my head on the roof, it seemed to me, was just terrifying. And I actually discovered in the morning that we were on a steep hillside. It was the first range of the Himalayan mountains at the end of the day, but there were also monkeys about, and people told me that it probably had been monkeys swinging about in the trees and playing on the roof, tin roof or whatever. So that was my initiation, if you like. First day there, and I saw that we had very, very close neighbours and a little stream and cows wandering about everywhere, but then that's typical in India. The Hindus don't eat beef, as you probably know. And very, very quickly I noticed what actually initially I thought was just a cow shed, a wee shelter actually for cattle, quite near our house. It turned out it was a proper house. In fact, it was a semi. It was 2 houses, and literally I think just one room in each side. I felt awful sorry for the family. Something in my heartstrings pulled immediately, and I made a few inquiries at the school if I could employ the lady, because I kept seeing her washing her clothes in the stream and the kids were playing, and I would wave over and blow kisses at the wee ones and just say hello with a few words of Hindi that I had. And yes, I was told to go on ahead, and I employed her to just sweep the floors, clean the kitchen and whatever, and then I paid her for her hours work a few times a week. It turned out that this particular lady stayed quite a chunk of the day in our house. It turned out, I think, maybe 3 or 4 hours instead of 1 hour. It didn't matter to me because the arrangement worked great. The key was always there whenever I came back from work, and the house was spotless. But then that got me thinking, wouldn't it be lovely to invite them over for a meal? Because I knew that our house to her was so big, and there were sofas and chairs and multiple rooms, and I just thought it would be a nice thing to do. So I, in my terrible Hindi, went to her one day after work, and as I thought, invited her over for a meal the next night. So that's fine. I go into work the next day and I discover through some of the Indian staff who know them that the word had got around. I think he was a cook in the school canteen or something. Anyway, in my awful Hindi, I had really invited myself to their house. Now, folks, you can just imagine my embarrassment. It was awful. I was just mortified. And in any culture, that's terrible, and I didn't know how that would be seen in Indian culture, of course, at all. So there was me at work, almost, I think I heard that at lunchtime, and I had no time to really process the whole thing and think, well, what do I do? What do I do? It was meant to be that night that I was having them around, and I thought, goodness me, this is just horrendous. I can't possibly consider going over there. They have no running water. They're using the water from the stream. The rice will be cooked in that. The veg will be cooked in that. I know all that. The cows drink from that stream. The cows do worse in that stream. And all the Indian staff come over and just said to me, Barbara, make your excuses and don't even think about going over. Well, I wasn't thinking about going over. I was starting to feel very anxious and sick about the very predicament I'd got into. But then somewhere in that thinking and in the rigmarole that goes on in your head, I thought, God, what do you want me to do here? I've no time to really get a handle on this. So folks, I just remember saying, God, I feel so worried now about this, and what am I to do? Tell me what to do. And I think I prayed the harder prayer, and I said, God, give me a peace about this, because right now I had absolutely no peace about heading over there that evening. And actually, folks, remarkably, I went into a real peace about the thing. Again, a peace that sort of shocked me. So much so that after school I thought, oh my goodness, God, really? Am I to go over there? And I thought, right, quickly get on with your plan. So I asked somebody to pop down and explain my mistake to them and say that I will come over if that's still okay with them, but I'll bring the food in advance. So then I quickly went down to the bazaar, grabbed quite a lot of veg, enough to do them for many days, took it to their door, front door, only door, and then waved and came back, in a few hours' time. So all was good, and I did stay in this calm state, which was unusual. Now, admittedly, I then started to feel quite anxious on the wee journey over to their house that night. So then I said, oh no, God, please, I'm starting to get really panicky now. Is it just I had a peace today because I was just so busy? Is that why I had the peace? And God, I've committed to them now. I don't really know if I can back out at this stage. So please, God, could you confirm to me that I'm meant to be in this house and I'm meant to be eating this food, which was the big thing. Oh, so what happened next, folks, was really, really strange. I was ushered in, and it was one room, 2 single beds opposite each other, 2 wee plastic chairs at the far end, and a wee kerosene cooker thing, gas cooker at the corner. And I was told to sit on the bed on the right. And I had only just sat down whenever a rat came out from below the bed and actually didn't stand on my toe. I've had that as well in India, but this wasn't standing on my toe, it was just walking, ambling slowly in front of my toe. But then he left, and he just slipped out the door that I had just come in. So for the life of me, I do not know how I did not scream, because I'm not good with mice, let alone rats, and normally I would just jump in the bed. But I just stayed calm. And Ramesh very quickly handed me a glass of water. But the glass was kind of warm. And then he went over to the wee stove and showed me that it had been bubbling. And I thought, oh dear love him, he's been kind and he's been sensitive to my palate. So I took that as my sign that all would be well, believe it or not. Now, if that hadn't happened quickly after seeing the rat, I think I probably would have made some excuse and just dashed off, because at the end of the day, I would never see them again. Chances were. Or at least not in a, big way anyway. So I played with those children. I drank the water. They hadn't toys, but they had plastic lids that we just flicked around, and spinning top, and a screw stuck through one of them. So we just laughed and giggled and got on like any other children would get on. I then ate the meal, and it wasn't a standout meal, folks. It was kind of dull, really, in Indian standards, and I like my spice, but they had made it very, very bland. Again, being kind to me. So I ate the meal. I remember I was hungry after it, so I definitely didn't have enough. But I went home with a good feeling, a sense that something good had happened there that night. I went into work the next morning, and still by then not a hint of Delhi belly, and I had experienced it during that trip. And the staff, the Indian staff, the people that knew the setup and where I was heading to, were completely amazed. So, sometimes in life, God can ask us to do something that flies in the face of common sense, of natural human wisdom. And we have to weigh it up, folks. I hadn't long that day to sort of figure out what I was meant to do. But I firmly believe that was meant to be. And I have further confirmation of that in that I suppose right at the end of the trip as I was leaving, I wanted to say goodbye to that wee family, and I gave them more veg and fruit and a rug and various bits and pieces that I no longer needed and had bought for my own bedroom or whatever. And that didn't make her cry, but what made her cry was when I brought out a camera and asked if I could take a photo of them. And somehow that small thing of maybe being in their home, plus always being kind to them and waving and employing her, of course, as well, but also this small act of kindness of asking if I could take their photograph actually brought her to tears. And the thought went through my head that that woman maybe never had had her photograph taken before. She took a long time to prepare her hair. Now, she had no mirror to check herself out on. She had no glass to even see a reflection. But she spent ages, you know, just smoothing out her hair with coconut oil and making herself pretty. And I want to show you the photo of that lady and her husband and her 3 little children. A very special photo to me of a time whenever I really believe God was asking me to do something extraordinary, something that went against everybody's opinion and guidance, but something that hopefully honoured that family in a small way. Okay, bye for now.